Making good time here tonight.
Good.
We can spend some time on this one.
I'll do our best.
Unfortunately, nothing happened.
Well,
I mean, a lot happened.
7,000 things happened.
A lot happened, but there's nothing memorable about this show.
Not really, no. Let's see. WCW Monday Nitro number 220, December 6th, 1999. Jarrett comes out for an interview with Mean Gene. He is sick of Dustin Rhodes screwing him over, wants to end his career at Starrcade in one of his horn-yacker matches, a bunkhouse match. Says if Dustin doesn't want to fight me, I'll fight Bret Hart, I'll fight Goldberg, I'll even fight Mike Tenay.
I was already so lost. Like, Jeff Jarrett wants to face Dustin Rhodes on the way to becoming the WCW champion.
That's his plan.
He has a pay-per-view match.
That's his plan.
What the fuck's going on here?
So, Jarrett...
What's a hornyacker?
We never got that answered.
I think that's one of Vince's favorite words, actually. Hornyacker.
McMahon or Russo?
Yeah, McMahon.
Yeah. Well, that would explain.
Why.
Well, so he starts to threaten Gene with his guitar. The crowd's cheering this. They want to see the old man hit with a guitar. Tenay storms out. He stands up to Jarrett. Jarrett backs down and says, I don't need any lawsuits. Last week was just a misunderstanding. Well, this is already stupid. Then as soon as Tenay turns around, Jarrett jumps him.
Yeah.
I guess he does need a lawsuit. He puts Tenay in the figure four. He's getting sued for sure, I guess. And then Goldberg saves. The Italian gangsters have some kind of confrontation in the world's most echoey place.
Tony Mamaluke says, no more screw-ups. I need Disco and Lash LaRue to meet the big boss tonight. Do we ever find out who the big boss is?
I don't know.
I honestly don't remember anything in this era.
I don't even remember.
It is a hodgepodge of just bullshit.
I remember Vito and Johnny the Bull.
Yeah, I remember them.
Mainly because of their cool theme song we got later. I forgot totally that Tony Marinero was ever a part of it.
I remember Tony Mamaluke. Yeah. Remember he got pulled through the guardrail?
But I thought...
I remember that. No, it happens in WCW. I'm almost positive it does. But anyway.
We had our first wacky...
What in the fuck was this? Wow. I was so mad when I saw this. So, last week on this fucking show, Finley beats Brian Knobbs and cuts all his hair off.
Right.
All right. I'm thinking, well, what the hell will the follow-up be this week? So Finley is in the woods.
First, Knobbs is in the woods.
No. Don't cut this off, Vinny. How dare you? Can you scratch that from the record, Rob?
That's what we... Okay.
Let me tell this fucking story.
Fine.
When I looked at the screen, motherfucker, I saw Finley in the woods. Okay?
All right.
Finley's in the woods and he's wearing some sort of outfit. Like a military outfit.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
And he's screaming at somebody that are going to be working hard. And he's screaming at him. He's saying, get going on this thing, blah, 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 blah. Finley.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay. I thought, he must be training Norman Smiley. He must be trying to toughen up Norman Smiley and make him into a badass. So he's shouting all of these whatever. And who should walk up but Brian Knobbs? Why are you looking at me like that?
You missed the first 30 seconds of this.
I did.
When Brian Knobbs, in a shirt reading Nasty Boys, is stomping through the woods looking for Finley like he's looking for Sasquatch.
I realize that, Vinny. But my point is, I did miss that. Okay?
Yes.
So in my brain, I thought Finley must be training like Norman Smiley. He's a coward, right? He's afraid of everything.
Yes.
Okay, so he's going to train and become a tough guy with Finley. Then I find out Finley's training Knobbs? Why the fuck are these two guys together? Why is Knobbs training with Fit Finley?
Because Finley cut his hair last week.
That's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Why is he out here being humiliated and trained by Fit Finley? I was so mad when I watched this. I didn't get it at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I watch this shit and it's stupid, but I can at least figure out what stupid thing was in somebody's mind when they came up with it. This, I'm baffled. How did Finley cutting his hair off lead to him becoming a drill sergeant for Brian Knobbs? What?
Why are they in the woods?
What the fuck are they doing in the woods?
Trained like Rocky.
And then Finley's yelling at him going, you almost had my leg chopped off. So Knobbs is like making this up to you? Or this is like a lawsuit?
I don't have an answer.
Like there was like a settlement that involves you training in the fucking woods with Fit Finley? What the fuck is going on here? Why did this make me so mad?
I don't know.
I'm sweating.
Back in the arena, out of the woods.
And I have no memory of it.
You don't remember Fit Finley and Brian Knobbs training in the woods?
No.
That's amazing to me.
And I remember a lot.
I'm being sarcastic, by the way. I also forgot this Woods segment.
Well, I'm never going to forget it again because I've ranted so long and hard about it. I mean, maybe I missed it the first time.
This is a better Nitro, everyone.
That part wasn't.
Norman Smiley comes out. This is a cosmic coincidence that I think I'm the only one in the room who would get. Maybe Rob.
Did you miss a segment with Kurt Hennig and Curly Bill and
Probably.
No, that's later.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, they aired it twice.
Shane got hired.
Yeah, they aired it twice on the show, so we don't need to talk about it the first time.
Okay.
They aired the same exact video twice.
Somehow I missed the first one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was probably still furiously writing about Brian Knobs and missed the first one.
So they're in Wisconsin. Norman Smiley comes out in a Mark Chmura, I can't even say his name, Chmura jersey, who has not been in the news for 20 years, and then suddenly this week he's back in headlines again because he had
crazy
mean things to say about their current quarterback. He threatens to kick Finley's booty. Norman Smiley does, not Mark Chmura. Issues an open challenge. Out comes Rhonda Singh. That's S-I-N-G, Rhonda Singh, by the way. So they're having a hardcore match. She hits him in the head over and over and over again with weapons.
Who was the football guy that was on Raw last night? Or not the football guy. He's a singer.
The country singer.
He's country singers performing at
Never
the
heard of him
tribute
in
to
my
the
life.
troops. Yeah, they spelled his fucking name wrong.
Excellent.
Yeah,
That's
this
good.
is Nitro. It's Thunder.
Remember I forget who the rapper was, but he got attacked and they're like, "That's not a superstar."
That's right. Who was it?
It was not he was not a superstar, as it turns out.
It was what's that fucking guy's name?
Machine Gun Kelly.
Machine Gun Kelly. Yeah. Who actually did a hell of a job. He was a superstar to me.
Okay, cool. So Rhonda hits Norman in the head with weapons over and over and over again, and finally he picks up like a trash can and hits her with this giant shot to the head, and everyone goes crazy.
Yep.
You people.
It sucked for Norman because he's wearing shoulder pads. He's got pads in his pants, and Rhonda's hitting him with a kendo stick and somehow missing the shoulder pads and just hitting him in the back, the only spot that's exposed.
And the head. She hit him in the head a lot too.
Gosh.
She blows a fire extinguisher in his face, which is awesome because it left him with a white mustache for the rest of the match. No, nothing else, mind you. It didn't stick to his face or his hair or his beard, just a mustache. So there's a table set up in the corner. He whips her into it. She goes through it. And then for about 20 seconds, he's looking for something. And then says, fuck it. And he pins her.
Yeah, it was weird.
Awful, I wrote.
It was very bad.
So in all
Oh my god. Fucking the Maestro's alive again.
in all the insanity of the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've never gotten into the Maestro. There's a guy who is backstage playing piano every week for some reason. And he has a girl for some reason.
Yeah.
And David Flair hates them for some reason.
Well, I mean, it's obvious. Hey, it's everybody.
Okay.
And the guy does nothing but play the piano and make 6 figures. I'd want to kick his ass too. Anyway, he's alive again. He got
He's fine.
He was beaten
Last
up.
time we saw him, he
His
was
body.
bound and gagged inside a piano.
his body was inside the piano. Yeah. So,
Are you saying a soul was somewhere else?
well, I'm just pointing out
He's doing
that
astral projection now?
he was dead, dude.
I see.
Fuck.
Well, he's here now.
Well, he's back alive again.
He got better.
I've seen weirder things on this show.
That's fair.
So he's alive, and he says, my piano's out of tune. I've got to look under the hood.
Right.
All right, so he goes to look under the hood.
What's happened? You're not lying.
David shows up, kidnaps Symphony, and he drops a piano lid on the Symphony, or on the Maestro, who falls down. Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
You understand me?
And he kidnapped Symphony.
Yeah, terrible.
So, something we've talked about many, many times over the years, Vince Russo outright says that he loves it when friends fight.
Yeah.
He just is clear about that. So, he tells Parka and Psychosis, Hoovy got hurt. I need one of you to fill in tonight against Jushin Liger. So, I love it when friends fight. I know you're friends. I'm going to make you fight. The winner is going to be the first one who walks out of this room. At this point, Parka starts to protest. Psychosis just walks towards the door. I was hoping he would just leave.
Yeah.
He'd win. But no, he jumps Parka. For about 10 seconds, they had actually a really great fight. Parka did a really cool takedown in this fight, but he still lost.
Park is a crazy fucker.
Yeah. And he still lost, and Psychosis walks out the door, and he wins. So he will face Liger later. Bret Hart arrives looking absolutely miserable.
This poor... I'll get to him later.
Lex goes to
I love this.
Lex goes to Elizabeth's room.
He sheepishly knocks, the the back part of his hand on the door. Liz, I've got champagne.
Last week, he threw her in gravy or mud or whatever they had.
Yeah, he's trying to make it up to her by giving her wine.
She won't listen. She tells him to go away. He's pleading to her heart about their friendship, how it's a defining moment in both our careers, he says. Finally, he says, I brought champagne. And she opens the door.
Classic.
Tony Mamaluke, or Marinara, whatever the hell he's supposed to be. He's in his office. He has an office at Nitro. There's a knock on the door. And it's in the exact same voice that said, Candy Graham in the Land Shark skit on Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. Pizza delivery. Tony stands up and says, who gets a pizza in Milwaukee? This stunned me. I was at Target on Sunday night. Target sells something called Milwaukee pizza.
Really?
It's a thing.
What is it?
I had like onions. It looked like pizza to me. I don't know what made a Milwaukee pizza. But so again,
Rob furiously Googling
I was just
this.
It can't be good. It's at Target.
That's fair. That is fair. I didn't say it was good pizza, but maybe somebody at Target was watching Nitro in 1999 and said, why can't Milwaukee?
Okay, we don't have that much time.
So he opens the door. Disco and Lash say hi. That's all that happens. Juice and Liger versus Psychosis.
Man, they actually tried. Fans are chanting boring.
Dude,
They're working their asses off. Liger with a dive off the post. Psychosis top rope drop kick. Finally, at the end, the people
Yes.
started to get into it.
yes.
And Liger hits cradle, pins him, wins the title back. Buzzkill's there as a buzzkill in the crowd.
Yep.
Holy smokes.
I got nothing to add.
What do you got, Rob?
So would you like to know what the Milwaukee style pizza is?
That's your job, my
All right,
man.
excellent. According to this website, it says a thin cracker crust, buttery and crispy, loads of thick shredded mozzarella, begs to be cut in squares, aka a party cut.
So it's pizza.
Seemingly.
Thank you, Vinny.
Don't blame me. Blame Target.
I blame the 5 minutes we wasted on that.
Yeah, but now we know.
The Nitro
We'll
Girls.
forget tomorrow. You think Vinny's going to remember this tomorrow? When I say, Vinny, do you remember what a Milwaukee pizza is?
I will not remember the
He'll
definition.
go, cutting squares. You won't even remember that.
I probably won't.
I will. Reminds me of Little Caesars.
Well, you learn something.
They always cut them in squares.
Maybe Little Caesars is from Milwaukee.
Little Caesars is shit pizza.
It is. It's horrible. Dude, Little Caesars. I'll go
And
to a
Chuck
rant.
E. Cheese.
They killed Pietro's in the Northwest, and for this, or Washington State at least. And for this, I will never forgive them.
I feel like there's a Pietro's down by
There are a few in
Longview.
There's a few in Oregon.
Longview, I think there's one.
There mi-
by the mall.
There's still Shakey's in Renton.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, Pietro's is awesome. The ones I know are in Oregon. There might be one down in Vancouver's across the border. So,
There is one. I'm telling you right now.
well, we'll do a road trip then.
All right.
Let's go now.
No. You? You're begging to get out of here and I get to drive to Longview? All
I was kidding, Brian.
right, let's get going here.
The Nitro Girls are racking on Spice when Vito and Johnny the Bull show up and invite them to play a game of strip poker. And the girls accept.
Oh, this will go well.
Always does.
Lex is pleading his case to Liz how they should be a team again.
What's the train without the caboose, he says. And then he goes, wrong choice of words.
That was what he said.
What's a bagel without cream
He
cheese?
had all day to prepare his speech.
Yeah,
That's what he did.
Hey, you got the
not into
champagne right. What else do you want from him?
she's not into it.
The maestro is storming through the backstage area of the arena, screaming for Symphony.
It's fucking horrible. It's hilariously
So
awful.
bad.
He's so, like, I can't tell if he's horrible or if he just knows he's doing something horrible. So he's just playing it up to be as horrible as possible.
You can't-
One way or the other, this was horrible.
You get,
I laughed
you
my
can't
ass off.
half-ass horrible.
No.
If you're doing something horrible, you have to go all the way with the horrible.
I howled at this fucking segment.
Pervy Gene is staring at Mona's boobs.
I mean, not even like, look in her eyes and,
No.
I mean, he's like,
It's the way it was
Leering.
written in his defense. They said, Gene, make sure you stare at her tits this whole time.
well, sure, of course.
And she says, I'm a lot more than TNA.
I'm a
unlike-
lot more than TNA. I'm going to prove tonight a woman can survive and win in a man's world. Sorry for the emotion.
It's acting like IQ from Star Blazers.
I did love that show growing up.
It's a great show. Yeah, she did a horrible robotic promo.
She was more wooden than robotic.
More wooden than robotic.
Yeah,
But
I can't really do it.
yes, she promised. So she has a 3-way with Evan and Medusa, a wrestling match.
Oh, hold on, wait, whoa, okay.
Yes.
I'm almost as mad as I am
Oh, it's right here. Right? We talk about it.
about that fucking Fit Finley deal. Okay, so Evan Courageous, Medusa, and Mona come down to the ring.
Yeah.
All right. Tony Schiavone is under the impression it's a 3-way match.
Yes.
Okay. Tony Schiavone says this is a 3-way match with the winner getting a shot at Evan Courageous at the pay-per-view.
That's correct.
Evan's in the motherfucking match.
He did say at one point, if Evan wins, he gets the night off or something.
Fucking A. Fuck you. So
Although-
then Evan goes to do commentary.
Ah!
Okay. Now Tony is baffled. He can't figure this out. Well, I thought it was a 3-way. Evan explained something, but he has no mic. So
Evan was
you can't
horrible.
hear
Oh, that too,
anything.
yeah.
And finally, like, we don't know what he said, so the women just start wrestling. So finally, I'm like, okay, this is fucking disaster. But like, all right, it's a women's match. Winner gets Evan. They do this goddamn match, and all of a sudden, Evan jumps in the fucking ring, and Medusa pins him.
Right.
He was in the match after all.
Yeah.
It was a 3-way.
Yes.
I hate this shit.
Okay. Even worse than that.
That's impossible.
Last week, we saw Evan and Medusa making out.
He did promise this.
and he said, I'll give you a match.
Well-
she asked for a match
Apparently, the
and basically said,
championship
I'll bang
committee-
you if you give me a match.
championship committee did not okay this, I guess.
Ridiculous.
And then Jarrett
You don't
waffles
say.
Medusa with a shot with the belt and challenges Goldberg.
We were 30 minutes into the show. The two biggest reactions have been for men hitting women with weapons.
Yep.
This is an unpleasant show to watch. Do we talk about how horrible Evan was on commentary?
Yeah. Brian
Yes.
did.
My favorite was when somebody throws a kick and his response was, quote, looks like kick time in there.
Yeah. Captain of Queen Kick. Team Kick?
Whatever.
Whatever.
That actually, Captain of Team Kick is better than looks like kick time in there. Can you imagine if Dakota Kai came out and said, looks like kick time? Disco and Lash have Tony tied up.
Ah.
When you have one guy whose gimmick is that he's a disco dancer, and one guy whose gimmick is that he's Cajun, why is the Cajun wearing the shiny silver shirt?
Because he's a star.
They promise they have a surprise for Tony. Yeah, and Disco's there like a blue turtleneck.
Yeah.
Like he's ready for a PBS Christmas show or something. So they promise they have a surprise for Tony. Liz agrees to team with Lex. Gene interviews...
No. She agreed to team with him, but then she grabs the champagne, pours it all over his head.
Yes.
Oh, you're right. There's so much going on, I forgot to write that down.
Yes. That's an important little
It is.
bit of the storyline.
You're right. There was so much going on, I forgot to write down important stuff. Gene interviews Vampiro and Jerry Only. There's Vampiro being a scary guy cutting a promo. It was fine. Dr. Death in Oklahoma versus Vampiro and Jerry Only.
All right, so Jerry Only was pretty bad in this match. Not going to lie.
Thank you.
This hilarious attempt at a sunset flip.
Is that what that was?
I was laughing so hard.
It's like a turtle stuck on his back, but he was on his front.
The best
It's
part of
actually
this
true.
match,
If you take a turtle out... Anyway, yeah.
there was actually something really good in this match, and that was Oklahoma with the mic
Doing his own commentary.
headset doing his own commentary for his own match.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
The best part was he comes out. Now, I'm not Rick Rude myself. So there's a little bit of a pot calling the kettle black. But Oklahoma comes out and he's just the fattest, flabbiest, hairiest fucker you've ever seen on Nitro.
No tan.
Just pale white tits and hair everywhere.
Tan was the least of his fucking problems.
Hey, tan fat looks better than pale fat. Everybody knows that.
I think I saw that in a fortune cookie once. So Oklahoma's got the mic gimmick, and he's not doing like house mic commentary. Only we at home can hear it. But he's, Doc Odo tackle, and he'll go tackle, 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 and he gets in there for his own stuff and does a little bit. Mostly it was all just like he says, "I'm a babyface, fire!" and he fires up, and as soon as Vampiro approached him, he tagged out. And after doing nothing, he did say, "I'm in trouble, guys. I'm blown up already." That was funny. I laughed at that. So Oklahoma sucks. Jerry Only sucks. So, of course, at least one of them is in the ring at all times. At least, finally,
Let's cut to the damn chase here.
Doc and Vampiro get there. And it's good.
Oklahoma hits Jerry Only with a chair outside, thank God. Doc destroys Vamp, and then Oklahoma goes up top, hits a fucking flying elbow for the win.
He had a bottom rope, pull the straps down elbow for the win.
Yep, Oklahoma. Let me just repeat this, everybody. Oklahoma pinned Vampiro and got his hat back.
Yeah.
He gained revenge on the babyfaces for how they had wronged him as a heel.
Are they the baby faces?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm almost positive Oklahoma and Dr. Death are.
I don't think there are any baby faces.
Was there anything
that's possible.
Was there anything in Vamp's promo while he was wearing Oklahoma's hat about Oklahoma's hat?
I thought he was just a damn cowboy.
Until they mentioned it, I thought he was wearing it. Honestly, he made it work.
He really did.
He did. The Nitro girls are cheating at strip poker. Disco and Lash are
That went over my head. I thought they were winning.
No, they pulled a card out of Fire's.
cleavage.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's cheating.
Yeah. Disco and Lash are preparing to tar and feather Tony Marinara. Lex Luger is walking. Bret Hart is walking. Gene interviews the Outsiders. Tonight, Scott Hall fights Sting and Nash fights Benoit. At the pay-per-view, Hall fights Benoit. Nash fights Sid. They're not concerned about any of this. Bret Hart versus Lex Luger. Crowd's chanting Shivani sucks. The announcers are saying this could be the most important match of Lex Luger's career. Why? Because he'll win the world championship? No. Because the winner, whoever's champion, gets a shot at Goldberg at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, this was before this match, you may have mentioned this, I wasn't paying attention.
Why
Is
would you?
Nash versus Sid in a powerbomb match at Starrcade?
Yes.
What?
Well,
The winner can only win via powerbomb.
the first one to hit a powerbomb
Okay.
wins.
Do you know how hard it is to do a match where near falls don't count? Countouts don't count.
Yep.
Literally nothing counts except hitting a move.
Yeah.
Okay, that's hard. And you're going to do that shit with Sid and Kevin Nash?
Sure are.
Fuck. Yeah.
So nobody cared about this match until Liz came out, but then Sting was right behind her. He told her, gave her an ultimatum, you're with me or you're with Lex. She followed him to the back. Lex was caught off guard by this and shocked, and so Bret hits him with the side Russian leg sweep and the sharpshooter for the win. Okay.
Going back one segment, you said that Disco and Lash are getting ready to tar and feather Tony Marinara.
I did say that very casually. Yes.
All right.
Brian,
Matt,
you're interrupting me.
I'm sorry, but I just have to get this out. Kevin Nash, Sid Vicious, -1 star.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Okay.
So they're getting ready to tar and feather. They don't do the tar and feathering, I know, spoiler alert, till later on in the show. What happened in all that time in between?
Sat around, shot the shit.
This is the worst
Bebopped.
thing ever. They show what's going to happen, and then it's like that segment is put on pause until they come back to it
Well,
and unpause it.
They have to just spread it out over 18 different segments, Craig.
Fuck, this show is horrible.
Stupid.
You just realized that?
God damn, they got a Revolution versus Duggan and the Varsity Club.
The what?
-1 star. Yes, but between like
Wait,
now
what?
and next week.
Are you confusing
Nope.
your notes from one show to the other?
Between now and next week, Mike Rotundo, Kevin Sullivan, and Rick Steiner are a team.
What?
Next week, Vinny, don't worry. We got Vampiro versus Oklahoma, -1.25, which is somehow worse than the Master of the Powerbomb match, which got -1
It's
star.
Oklahoma. I mean, somehow.
Well,
He's worse than Nash and Sid.
I guess, but
He's clearly worse than Nash and Sid.
fucking A. We should not watch that.
No.
Good idea.
All right, where are we?
The Kurt Hennig segment that I finally saw for the first time. He wants them to hire Curly Bill. Curly Bill has a great idea for a gimmick. He says this. I got a great idea for a gimmick. Shane.
Rusev says, fine, minimum wage. He's down with it. Just not for a lot of money.
Just Shane.
And then Ronda wants an opportunity. Ronda Singh, not
Yeah,
Ronda
we clarify
Rousey.
that, yes.
Yeah, they have a Vince and the Shane now, along with
Well, they had a Vince.
Yeah.
Vince is Shane.
now they got a Shane,
Oh, Vince Russo.
and then they got Gerald
Oh,
and
Midnight's walking around backstage.
Midnight in her abs looking for Harlem Heat. Russo likes Laparca, calls him Skeletor, makes him his official chairman. Says,
Yeah.
when I do this, hit a guy with your chair. Harlem Heat come in. Russo says, you can have a title shot at Starrcade. And he does this. And Parker hits him with a chair, and Creative Control joins the beating. Piper arrives in a limo, and some guy was with him, and I was trying to figure out who, and then we never saw him again.
Was it fair play?
Probably, actually.
what's that kid from Portland that used to hang around?
Louis Rock?
It wasn't
Thank
Louis
you.
Rock.
It was not Louis Rock.
Definitely not Louis
It
Rock.
might have been Johnny Fairplay. I'm not sure, but some guy. David has Symphony trapped in the basement somewhere. Do we? I don't even write it down. There is a point in the show where when the maestro is going through the hallways screaming Symphony's name, and David and Symphony appear behind him and then disappear, and the cameraman doesn't let Maestro know your girlfriend who has been kidnapped by a crowbar wielding lunatic is behind you
That's your fucking problem. How about the cameraman right here
in the basement.
filming this in the basement and not doing a goddamn thing about it?
Same thing. Yes.
I'm sick of this show. I may wrap it up right now. I don't know if I can finish this.
Gene interviews Jerry Flynn. Flynn is upset Berlin broke the rule of the block.
Fuck.
Issues an open challenge.
Yeah, he explains the rule. It's 2 men enter.
It's not three.
Not 3.
Not 3. The Revolution are now a militia. Come out in tactical gear. Remind me, was flag burning topical in 1999?
I don't know.
They're going off about...
It's always topical.
They have... Well, there was a time when it was really, really in the news every day.
This is where Shane dropped the S-bomb. It wasn't on the other show.
No, Hunter said shit when he was talking about his dad.
Okay.
There's plenty of shit to go around in 1999. So Revolution have their own flag now. Asia
I bet
versus...
they sold a bunch of those.
Asia versus Midnight. Hey, Midnight... I don't
Hell
know.
of an athlete.
What a hell of... And Asia, too. They're doing kip-ups. Their green is beyond the greenest grass you ever saw. But there's talent here.
I think Midnight may have thrown the greatest leapfrog I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm not even joking. That may have been the greatest leapfrog I have ever seen.
And she's not small.
No,
she is tall and thick and muscular and can move. The Revolution is trying to cheer Asia on by clapping the mat in unison. The whitest moment in the history of pro wrestling. The clapping was way too hard for them. So Patrick is pulled out of the ring. The Revolution attacks Midnight. For the third time on the show, a man attacks a woman with a weapon. Hacksaw makes the save. At least he's a real 2x4 this week. They all beat him up. They take the flag they introduced 10 minutes ago and they lay it over his body. Larry Zbyszko arrives, talks to Mike. What the hell is the guy's last name?
Mike Graham.
Graham, thank you. So I'm here to talk to the powers that be. Piper's going crazy backstage.
It's writing about wrestling people with condoms on their heads. I guess because Creative Control are bald.
I assume that's what that's. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a strange joke.
I thought that was later in TNA.
I love when Piper thinks he's so clever. Really, it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's just out of his mind. They bring back the Nitro Party clips.
I was so mad till I found out what this was.
See?
They go, yes, something we haven't done for 6-7 months. Yeah. Nitro Party. Let's go to the tape. Daphne Unger.
Yes.
She's sitting there. I think David Flair's totally cool. It's like, how about that?
They did not do weeks of the Nitro Party, and then the third one's the crackpot.
No, they
jumped right into the crazy.
Yeah, hey, we got a good one this week. Let's put this one on the air. She likes David Flair.
She's the one. Okay, I'm going to read this, and you're going to think, listener, that I am making a mistake. This is the match. Roddy Piper in a handicap match versus Creative Control with himself as ref. I'll say it again in case I lost you. Roddy Piper versus Creative Control with himself as the referee.
I hate
Why
this.
was there a match? Why didn't he just claim himself to be the winner?
Why did Russo, who hates Piper, make Piper his own ref? That seems dumb.
I fucking know.
So Piper does a bunch of goofy comedy about they have to do what he says or he'll DQ them. He's so good at this wacky shit and people loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So then he makes it an I Quit match. And he starts to fight. He goes for their balls, their eyes, their fingers. Finally...
You're underselling that. He poked one in the eye, he hit the other one in the crotch, and he looks at the crowd and goes, I'm having a ball!
Yeah.
And he cracked himself up.
It was the Three Stooges here. Finally, they double team him. They're about to do a pile driver on a chair when Goldberg saves. He hits a spear, and he does like the worst jackhammer anyone's ever done.
Okay, listen. He grabs the Harris, and he lifts him up, and he starts to lose him.
Yes, he does.
And he turns, and he still starts to lose him. He actually drops the guy stomach first on the top rope, hoists him back up again, can't get him all the way up, and finally just slams the guy.
Did you see how he got him up? The Harris twin kicked off the turnbuckle to get himself over.
At least he was smart enough to do that.
Right.
Listen, I've never seen Goldberg fuck up a jackhammer ever.
I have seen
him.
So
guess what? It's not his fault.
No. I have seen him jackhammer the Big Show.
Yes.
That's very true.
So this was so bad, people were actually booing Goldberg. And then Piper choked a dude with a belt and won. Tony Marinara begs for mercy. He doesn't get any. They started talking. I understood nothing because there was no mics. Okay. So there's a strip poker game with two dudes and a bunch of hot chicks. And you're making a TV show where you want wrestling fans to tune in droves.
Right.
Where your on-character says all he wants is ratings. Mm-hmm. The women have gained clothing as the night has gone on. The dudes are just about naked.
Yes. Funny, though. Ha ha ha.
The maestro finds a shoe,
Yeah.
like Cinderella. Dustin Rhodes versus Meng. Jeff.
Whoa, hold on. First we had Disco and Lash, tar and feather Tony Mama Luke. They literally tarred and feathered the guy.
Yeah.
Well, molasses and feathered.
Then we have Vito and Johnny still losing. They offer double or nothing. All the underwear's on the line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we had Maestro finding the shoe. So Dustin Rhodes versus Meng. Jeff Jarrett runs in for the DQ. Tony Schiavone says, and I quote, "You can almost feel that one coming."
Hall and Nash are down. They save Jarrett. Jarrett hits Meng with a guitar shot. Meng doesn't sell it. Nash boots him. Nash powerbombs Dustin. Is this show over yet?
Nash powerbombs Dustin. Dustin's a very big man. He's almost as big as Nash. And they shot this from the worst camera angle possible to make it clear how impressive this was.
Oh, here we go. Now we got a segment. Allow me. Russo wants to talk to Larry Zbyszko. Larry Zbyszko walks in. Russo says, "Larry, Thunder sucks." Larry says, "Yeah, it sucks. It sucks because you're putting it together. There are no stars on this show." Russo says, "Well, that's all going to change on Thursday on Thunder. We're going to make it special again. All the big stars are going to be there. Goldberg, Sting, Luger. They're all going to be there. And you know what, Larry? You suck. I'm replacing you." Larry says, "The announcers are the only things on the show that make any sense." He says, "I don't need this stupid job. I do this to give back to the fans." Hennig's right there. Hennig's rolling his eyes. Larry goes, "I don't need this job for 30 glorious years." And as soon as he says glorious years, Hennig rolls his eyes. So Larry's like, "Hey, fuck you." So they start arguing. And so Russo says, "All right, tonight, Larry, you're facing Kurt. And if you lose, Larry, you're fired." Larry goes, "Well, hold on a second. That's not fair. What if I win? If I win, you have to go back to WWF." He doesn't say WWF.
Some bridge is what he said.
So Russo says, "Fine, let's do it." And you know what I wrote that time? I said, Larry should have shot on him. Little did I know that he actually won. I was astounded when Larry won. But then it was bullshit, as we'll get to.
So Prince Iaukea is there.
Ugh.
He's got a dove. There's candles. It's 10 seconds.
Listen, everybody. Listen to me, okay? Who does a Prince gimmick nowadays?
Velveteen Dream.
Okay. You find a guy like Velveteen Dream, fine. He can do a Prince gimmick. Just because the fucking guy's name is Prince Iaukea doesn't mean it's a good name or a good idea to rename him the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea.
It's a horrible idea.
They chose the worst fucking guy on the roster to do this. Lash LaRue would have been better.
Yeah.
Tony Mama Luke would have been 10 times better. They chose the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea.
Clever.
And just in case you don't get the joke, Tony says, that is the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea.
Yeah.
In case it went over your head in 1999. Kurt Hennig versus Larry Zbyszko on TV in December of 1999. The millennium is almost over. A decade after they were fighting over the world title. Larry is shirtless. He looks way better than Oklahoma. So the ref gets
He
bumped.
looked great in the match, too.
They had a great record. Kurt Hennig and Larry Zbyszko good at wrestling. Shocking news.
Oh, my God. There's so much left on the show. Keep going.
The ref gets bumped and is down for like an hour. Larry hits a guillotine. Shane makes the save. Arn hits a baseball bat to Hennig and Shane, revives the ref, and Larry wins. Creative Control shows the video. The ref reverses the decision. Hennig wins by DQ.
So Larry Z is gone.
Larry Z's gone.
Oh, man.
Chris Benoit walks. The Outsiders walk with a ladder. Disco and Lash, I wrote Larry here, having tarred and feathered Tony Marinara, now they put an apple in his mouth. The Italians, who are now nude, now they have a monitor. Now they see what's happened to Tony. They grab their clothing and go to save him. Chris Benoit versus Kevin Nash.
All those segments were like 5 seconds each, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Took us longer to recap them.
So we have been criticized by some for not pointing out when Bobby Heenan may be imbibing, drinking on the job.
Criticized? Like, everyone is so outraged that he was drinking on the job. Like, do you fucking watch these shows? Good for him.
Yes.
Congratulations, Bobby. You're the one smart guy in this whole fucking company.
Yeah.
There's no way you can do this job sober.
So we were criticized for not pointing it out. There's no ignoring it on this one. They all were talking about it. He gets confused about which one's Hall, which one's Nash. He gets confused about what's the ladder match and who's in the one on the pay-per-view. They ask him, "Are you going to use this?
You didn't need to be drunk to get confused about that.
Are you going to use this ladder, Hall?" And he says, "You read the format. You know what it is." So finally, they just ask him, "What are you drinking? Can I have some?" So they had what was a very good match for Kevin Nash, a bad match for Chris Benoit.
I love Benoit matches, though, because he's going to go in and have his match. It doesn't matter who you are. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you want to do it.
Yep.
He's going to fucking have his match with you.
I'm going to chop you,
Beat
Kevin
the
Nash.
shit out of Kevin Nash for a long time. Mm-hmm. And finally, Nash cut him off, and Benoit made a comeback and just drop kicks the ladder right into Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
And
there's a crossbody off the ladder onto Hall.
Yep.
He was fighting off both outsiders, and everyone's going crazy.
Yep. This was good.
One of the very few things that Vince Russo did was have faith in guys like Chris Benoit and Booker T and promote them as stars.
Yes.
And he did that here. So eventually, he gets cut off, and Sid made the save, and there was no finish.
They were going to go for the edge onto a ladder, but Sid made the save.
Saved his life.
Yeah.
Is what Tony said.
And then Bobby just goes, well, his back at least. So whether he was drinking or not, he was on top of his game.
Yeah. 2 hours late, DDP arrives to the building.
Yeah.
The Italians have put their clothes on and are walking. Gene interviews Sting, who has nothing to say about Liz, says he's at least one step ahead of Lex at all times. He calls out the outsiders. The Italians go to the ring. They call out Disco and Lash, who desperately need a team name, by the way.
Vito was a hell of a promo, actually. He's been great ever since he showed up on this show.
He was a hell of a promo.
And Johnny's a good Johnny the Bull. He's a good lunkhead.
Okay.
He's a good lunkhead that stands in the back and
is big.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good big shirt, little hat guy. You know?
That's what he was here.
I think it's a pretty little shirt he's wearing.
So the twins from last week come out and they distract these men. Of course, Disco and Lash attack from behind. And more praise for Vito. He took this awesome bump for a Disco Inferno punch.
Yeah, he's great.
A Disco punched him and Vito bumps up like Matt Bourne doing that whoopee cushion on Sunday night. Just straight up in the air.
Back in the day, I was not a fan of Vito. It's like, fuck, here's Vito on TV again. But you know what? He's a pretty talented fucking guy.
He's got a lot going
Good
for him.
promo. He's been great in all of these segments. You can hate the segments. I don't need to see 45 fucking segments in the last 2 weeks with these guys. But as far as like a performer, he's really good.
So Tony runs out, tarred and feathered, has a pipe. He's so upset by this tar and feathering that he's dancing like a chicken. And they lay out Disco and Lash. And
Well, now they've got their revenge.
I see.
They've got them. Mm-hmm. So now he's all, even though he's humiliated, it's a bunch of chicken jokes. Mm-hmm. I thought he was great. I love the Italians.
They carry Disco and Lash away. Maestro is still on the hunt for Symphony. The Italians put their enemies in a limo. They're all happy. Then they realize they can't find the keys, and the car drives away because Disco and Lash just stole their car.
Did you notice Tony Mamaluke just falling down?
Yeah, I thought at first he was like trying to rub some of the molasses off his face in the limo, and then he just went to the earth, and they just carried him up.
Really weird.
And they kept on going. I recall he had a lot of concussions too.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
That was scary.
So Maestro, here's the payoff. 3 hours of the Maestro on the hunt trying to save his woman. We get some artsy-fartsy camera effects. He accidentally finds Jerry Flynn and gets his ass kicked.
He walked into the block. Mm-hmm. Big mistake.
Just gets destroyed.
Jerry Flynn kicks his ass while the fans chant boring. Then David Flair shows up and lays out Flynn with a crowbar.
He lays out Flynn
Thank
with
God
a
I
crowbar.
waited the entire show for this shit.
He has Symphony in a headlock. He's been dragging this woman around through the hallways, to the basement, to the block for hours. And he drags her away as she's screaming and begging for help. And Tony responds, David Flair still has Symphony. Folks, here's the Lugs Boot of the Week.
Yeah. Yes.
Nick Patrick bars a bunch of people from ringside. Liz has papers for Sting. They walk to the ring. They pass by Sid and Vito, who are all just hanging out backstage because it's what you do when you're not on camera.
Sid's trying so hard not to be seen, but he's Sid. You know what I mean?
He's not hiding. He's
No, he was. Like they start to walk by and Sid just goes,
yes.
he stands up
Exactly.
very tall, like, oh, maybe they won't see me right now. I'll put my arms down by my
He
sides.
thinks they're a T-Rex. If I don't move, they won't see me.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that flesh-colored pillar?
Dallas Page puts on his boots. Scott Hall versus Sting. Kevin Nash immediately interferes. Nick Patrick ejects him.
Yeah, Nick Patrick said, you cannot be down there unless you have legal business at ringside. And Nash is doing commentary. I'm like, that's fucking legal business right there? He gets ejected. And then they had a fine match.
And Liz sprays mace in Hall's face, and Sting wins with the Scorpion.
Yeah, Hall will do a job for anybody. He doesn't care. He's made his money. He's a star. He's not one of these weird-ass fuckers that has to win all the time or never lose. He knows it's fake.
The best thing on the show by a mile. David Flair is dragging Symphony down the hallway. Tony asks, what does he have left to do here tonight? Bobby Heenan, there's a pause, and Heenan says, stock! I watched it like 5 times in a row. Listen, if you had a problem with Heenan drinking, you had a problem with me.
He needs to drink more.
Yes. Like, it's the most obvious thing in the world. What do you think he's got to do? He's a stalker. He's going to stalk this woman.
It is absolutely incredible. I mean, it is unprofessional to drink on the job, but like this fucking job, like it still
Like
amazes
he's the
me
only one.
that all these years later, people are still appalled that Bobby was drinking on these fucking Nitros.
Don't forget the Christmas show in a couple weeks.
I just can't. I don't even understand. Like, honest to God, like more power to him. Yeah. Fuck, this show's so bad. I want to drink.
David Flair gives Maestro, comes out of the ring, says, Maestro, you have 10 seconds to come claim your bride. They're married now.
The show is still going.
DDP comes out instead. I guess Paige is a good guy now.
I don't know what he is.
Lays eye for who
He
knows.
doesn't trust anybody.
He hits a diamond cutter on Flair, addresses a rumor that he wanted out of his contract, and he wanted out of his contract to go to the WWF. Because we must
words.
mention them by name every chance we get. So it talks about loyalty and doing the right thing, but lately people have not been loyal to him, so he's looking out for himself. DDP versus Sid. The announcers, well, they make an announcement at the pay-per-view. Creative Control and Kurt Hennig versus Harlem Heat and Midnight in an intergender 6-person match for the tag team titles.
I hate the show. This fucking match, Sid took the funniest bump for a clothesline off the top.
He sat down.
He sat down, rolled backwards.
Just sits down.
Just horrible. The goddamn referee takes a bump. I was so over the show
How
when
often
that ref took a bump.
Is there a ref bump in every match on Nitro?
I think on every fucking match there's been a ref bump. Sid hits a power bomb. Nash and Hall hit the ring. Fans want Goldberg. Jarrett comes down. Bret Hart comes down. We get a 6-way brawl. This is what happens, everybody. Are you ready for this? Nick Patrick then announces, fuck all these guys. The main event tonight is a lumberjack match involving all of them. And the referees, we have seen enough, and we're going home. So all the referees go home. Mm-hmm. There's a lumberjack match with no referees. I'm like, what? So the individuals involved, they begin to all fight. Mm-hmm. The wrestlers and the lumberjacks. And why the fuck not? There's no referee. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to have a winner here. So they're all brawling. Like, okay, so when they're all brawling and there's no referee, and suddenly Roddy Piper's music hit, I was like, that was good, okay? It has been, we know that he was hired to be a referee, mm-hmm. and it would have been a lot better if they hadn't done that bullshit in the middle of the show with Creative Control. But like when they played his music, it was like, that's right, he's a referee. And he comes down, and he lays down the law, and he gets this lumberjack match going with himself as a referee. Now, let's backtrack a second. What was Nick Patrick's plan? He signed a lumberjack match and then sent all the referees, including himself, home.
I guess that they all kill each other.
Then why not just say, we're going home, you guys all fucking kill each other? Why did he make it a lumberjack? Why did he make a specific match with a specific fucking stipulation? But then, like, all the referees are going home.
I don't know.
It's the fucking stupidest thing.
I don't know.
It's just so stupid. Why are we watching this?
I don't know. So, yeah, when the point when Jarrett tries to flee, they had some football players there, although they weren't wearing jerseys.
Who the fuck were they?
Some large men in street clothes. Thankfully, Tony knew exactly who they were. I knew the names, even 20 years later. So, Dustin Rhodes throws Jarrett back in the ring. The bell rings to start the match. It's Jeff Jarrett versus Goldberg in a lumberjack match. And then this match starts, and I look at the thing and says, there's 7 minutes still to go. No way. This is the point where I gave up on the show.
Well, Brett hit the ring, hit Jarrett with the belt. Goldberg got his spear. Jackhammered Jeff Jarrett, got the pin. I will say, I will say, I will give them credit. The fans were super into this because Goldberg was there, Roddy Piper was there, all the Lumberjacks were brawling outside. It actually was exciting television.
Yes.
And they loved it. They loved the finish. The babyface won. The babyfaces celebrated together. Show went off the air. I mean, this is not the worst Nitro of all time.
Oh, God, no.
No.
It's the best Nitro in like a month.
It actually may be the best Russo Nitro yet. And that is low fucking praise, everybody. But, hey.
I do have two things to add.
Yes.
First of all, Sid is a fantastic cheerleader. When Sid's banging on the mat with both hands and everyone's going crazy, he turns around and pumps him up. Sid's great. Sid should have been like a manager and tag team guy his entire career. Just come out.
He's 10 feet tall.
I don't care. I don't want to watch him wrestle. I want to watch him stand there and be scary and cut wacky promos and be intense and fire up the crowd. Second point here, somewhere in all this madness and melee, Jeff Jarrett hit Bill Goldberg in the head with a chair. It was the loudest chair shot I've ever heard in my life. I thought, that sounded like a fucking gun. And Tony says, that sounded like a fucking gun.
Yeah.
And he may have cursed. So don't do that, everybody. Goldberg's grabbing his head the rest of the night. Somehow survived and won, but God, don't hit people in the head with chairs really fucking hard. That's the end of Nitro.
I tried so hard to get through this quickly. 50 minutes we spent on that Nitro.
Well, let's do the finishes and go home. This may take 50 more minutes. The finishes on the show were pin in an intergender hardcore match, clean pin via betrayal in an intergender three-way, Vampiro gets pinned by a manager, submission after distraction, no finish in a women's match, submission in a handicap I Quit match where the dude was his own ref, DQ due to run-in, pin after a ref bump and interference and weapon shot, reverse to a DQ and an announcer gets fired, no finish due to ref bump and ladder and interference with two men, submission after interference and mace, no finish after ref bump and shit, pin after way too much bullshit to get into here.
Wow.
Nice.
That was a good show.
Now I'm blown up like Oklahoma.
Fucking A. I need you to have a headset for this show. All right, everybody, we're out of time. Back on Thursday with more. I'm exhausted. I am completely exhausted.
Maybe I wasn't bored during Nitro as much as I was just burned out.
There's only a few more weeks left before they go to 2 hours. And whoever that was that said it doesn't get better, I don't care. It's shorter. That's all I ask. All right, we're going to wrap this up here, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Adios.